Hey everyone, it's the Angry Honey Badger, and it's time for another episode of League Talks. If you don't know what League Talks is, League Talks, well, that's the show where you guys ask me league-specific questions. I give you my input, my opinion, and all of that good stuff about whatever the question's about. So if you have a future question for League Talks, you can send me a private message on YouTube, labeling the subject as League Talks, and you can ask me your questions that way. Slightly different than the Q&A, which some of you may have seen earlier in the week, or late last week, however you want to look at that. The Q&A is not league questions, really. It's a Q&A. But nonetheless, League Talks, though, you're going to be giving me your questions, and I'm going to go ahead and answer a handful of those today. Luckily, I got a handful of questions from the last League Talks. Hopefully, I'll get to some important ones, and we'll cover some of that. So let's go ahead and start off with the very first one. How long have you been playing LoL, and what do you think about Han and Dota 2? Well, I've been playing League since late 2010, so whatever the math is on that, you can figure that out. I'll go ahead and answer this next question that, I don't know if it's a question this time, but a lot of people ask this, how many wins do I have? It's over 1,200 or something like that. I don't really pay attention. That's just normal games, so as for other games, if you want to throw in those too, that's something else, but normal wins on Summoner's Rift, over 1,200 at this current point, so that's how many I have. What do I think of Han and Dota 2? I did play a little bit of Han, or if you don't know what Han stands for, that's Heroes of Newerth. I didn't really care for it, to be honest. It was okay. Dota 2, I haven't really played it. There's parts of it that I think I would like, but there's parts of it I know I would not like. I have some friends who play a little bit of it, but nonetheless, I like League, and I'm going to stick with League, so that's that, really. Next question comes in today. They're actually asking kind of a three-part question, so we'll go ahead and start off with the first one that they asked. The first question is, what are some tricks that you commonly use to get an advantage over someone? And they don't mean cheats or mods. They just mean like just in-game, just kind of trickery. One thing I will say that I don't see a lot of people utilize when they're newer to the game is they don't use their standard attack to poke at the enemy. And this is something that is really big in mid lane and in top lane. If you are a ranged caster AP, let's say you're Ahri, you have a long range on your standard attack, and if they're playing someone like Kassadin, Katarina, somebody like that who does not have a ranged standard attack, they have to melee minions to get kills really, you can poke them with your standard attack and it's going to hurt them. This is something I've talked about a few times. I'm not saying commit to only doing that to them, but if they go up to go get minion kills, go give them a standard attack, poke at them once or twice. It's going to actually hurt them quite a bit because a lot of them don't have a lot of armor. So that's just one little trick, you could say, to get the advantage. Another trick that may not seem like a trick is buy some wards. It's amazing what map awareness does. A lot of people don't realize that. So, and that's one thing you do have to realize, and you won't always see that in build videos and stuff, but those are just most of the time, not all the time, normal games, and it's not as big of a deal. But another thing I think some people may not realize about my playstyle, at least with this game, is I play it for fun. I'm not trying to be super, super competitive, and I'm just trying to help people who may be newer or just looking for other angles on things. So it's not super epic pro championship nonsense going on here. It's just some games. We're having some fun. So that's what's happening. The second question that they ask is, I can play every position, but I rarely call my position so I can fill the gaps for our team in hopes of winning. But it seems like I'm always stuck as the support. I've played support so much that I really don't like it because I'm bored, which is actually my view of support. I just get bored with it. Do you have any tips to make supporting more fun so I can help the team win? Make sure you play a lot of the different supports if that's what you're getting stuck with. Maybe call a position. Try it. Now, calling a position in a queue doesn't mean you get that position. There still is queue order. If you're last pick and you call mid, and someone else takes mid because they were first pick or second pick, don't be a douche and take mid. This happened to us last night. We had a kid, I was first pick, and I picked Nidalee, and I was going to go mid. And he like raged out because he's like, well, I called it. And I was like, you're last pick, dude. And there's a reason why you're last pick. Because you're last pick. And he raged out and he locked in anyways Brand. And I didn't argue with him. I let him go mid. I was like, screw it. I'll go bottom and I'll half support. But I didn't have all the right stuff because, he's being a douchebag. And he fed. He went 0 and 6 and 0. And I had the most kills as our support. So it says a lot. Don't be a douchebag. It's basically what I'm trying to say. So, as for your question about picking supports and how to have fun with them, depending on if you're duo queuing and you're willing to do support, but like a kind of like an attacky support. I don't want to call it specifically a kill lane. And Nidalee actually can do this. You can play her as kind of a kill lane support because she can still support really well, and she does do plenty of damage. So if you want to try things like that, it's never a bad idea. I know some people who just get stuck into playing support, they play the same support, which is not a bad idea, but you may want to try out a different support because just a different playstyle will be fun. Kind of like with Thresh. I didn't enjoy Thresh at first when I started playing him, and now I think he is a lot better to play, and so now I don't have as hard of a time if I really need to go play support. I'll play somebody like Thresh if he doesn't get banned, so just try different champions to keep it from getting bored. Worst case scenario, just don't play queues like that. Just go play whatever you want to have fun if you just want to have fun. And then their third question is, I've gotten my group of friends into playing LoL, and we have a ranked team going. I'm level 30 in hell. And waiting for them to reach level 30 so they can play sometimes and have a 5v5 team. I would like to keep the team local. Any advice for getting more people, and any advice for preparing my team for the fields of justice? Well, no. Play lots and lots of games. One thing I will actually say to help people get ready if they are trying to go for ranked is practice some of the basics. I have a tips for LoLing video that's called like tips for ranked season 3 or something, and there's just some ridiculously basic tips in there, but it's the fundamentals of the game that really help you out in the long run, especially when you're starting to go into ranked. Another thing I would say too is the minute you hit level 30, don't go play ranked for a few reasons. One, as much as you've hit level 30 and it's probably taking you a little bit of time to get there, think about other people who are playing ranked, such as, let's just say me. I have 1,200 wins, and you get to level 30 and you have, let's say, 150 wins. I'm going to go ahead out on a limb and suggest that I've probably played all the champions a few more times than you have, and the other big issue with that is you may only own 20 champions, and as much as that may not seem too bad, but let's say 3 of them get banned that you own, then you're down to 17 champions, and let's say that you have 2-ish to 3-ish of every position, and you're not going to get super epic pick of what position you want. You're going to have very little choice, and if you have a champion that you have to get picked because that's all you have left, and you're going to get hard countered because of it, because you basically counter yourself into whatever they picked against you, I mean, you're just leaving yourself open for a disaster. So I'd recommend to have at least, seriously, 50 champions before going and playing ranked, because especially if you're going to help your team with trading, or if you need to grab an early pick for somebody so they can counter the mid pick late. I mean, I go into ranked games, everybody always asks me how many champions I own, and I don't play that much ranked, as a lot of you do know. I don't really care because I just play them randomly with a friend occasionally. But when I'm in those games, it's nice to have. I have like 90-some champions. I'm only missing 10 in the game right now. So it's nice to be able to pick and counterpick when I need to. If they pick Caitlyn on the enemy team and I need to be an AD carry, I'm going to pick another super good ranged carry. I'm going to pick Varus probably because he isn't a direct counter, but at least I won't be outranged by her standard attacks. I've seen kids call AD carry, and then the enemy team picks somebody like Caitlyn or Varus who's got a lot of range, and the only good way to... I mean, there's lots of other ways to counter it, but one good way to just keep yourself safe while farming and being in that lane is to pick somebody else with good range, and then they pick somebody like Twisted Fate as their AD carry, and I'm like, you're going to get smashed by their long-range attacks over your short-range ones. So you just have to be careful with all that stuff. So not that counter picking necessarily is the only way to win, but you have to be aware of some of that stuff. So when you go into a game, you just can't go in the mentality going in that with I'm only playing this champion and that's what I'm doing. You can't always do that. Another kid I ran into another day did that. He goes, I only play Riven top, and he picked a champion, or the other team picked a champion that directly countered Riven. And somebody dodged, thank the Lord, and the kid was streaming, so I went to his stream, and he was complaining about somebody because they took Riven over his pick. They took top, and he was like, oh, I dodged because I only play Riven. It's like, you really can't only just play only one champion. The only time that really does work is when you are playing on a team of 5 friends and you all have dedicated positions. So that's the only time. So that's what I'm going to say about all that stuff. Just some little things in there to prepare yourself for all types of ranked stuff. My next question comes in is, do you feel like the newer champions that are coming out are more OP than the older champions, especially ability-wise? Example, Thresh at the time was able to play a mean AD carry because of his support abilities and that he could use on himself, and maybe soon Zach, who has a lot of CC with his abilities. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just reading this quick. Anyways, so that's the question. To be honest, I have thought about this a little bit, and as much as are they more OP, I wouldn't necessarily say yes. I don't think they are. One big thing I think we have noticed more so in the last year or so of new champions coming out is a lot of them have gap closers or escapes that some of the older champions don't have. Some of them do. Some of the old champions do have them, but a lot of them don't have it like some of the new ones do. Not everyone. Technically, Quinn has 2 escapes with her vault, and because, I mean, as much as she gap closes, she slows them and jumps away. So that's kind of a good thing for an escape, and she's got her just ultimate where she can just go away and fly, and she's so fast you can't catch her. So there's some escape. Who else is new? Vi is fairly new. She has some decent escape. She can just dash away, really, if she wants to use her Q to do that. The Blob Zach, he can do that too. He's got escape. He can grab the ground, jump backwards if he wants. So a lot of champions have escapes now that kind of negated some other champions for a little bit. Luckily, you know, what was the funniest thing over time? Oh, Jarvan came out and he had a great ultimate because he trapped everybody in it and they had to have Flash to get out of it for a while. And then a bunch of champions came out. And I know there's other champions that could escape it without using Flash, but now it seems like anybody can jump out of it if they want with just an ability. So that's just kind of funny that a lot of champions can do that. Some of the old escapes that we can see that aren't really hardcore escapes, like, Teemo? Teemo has this just move quick, but that's not really a hardcore escape like newer champions. And Poppy, she's got her speed up, but that's not really a hardcore escape. So, I mean, there's just some interesting things like that to consider. I think one thing that has made newer champions seem more powerful is their ability to gap close really fast and get back in. So that's one main thing I would say. Are they overpowered, though? No. Like I was just saying, the game is balanced, and they do balance it on a regular basis. Whether or not you think somebody is incredibly overpowered, maybe just because they're a good player, or that you don't know how to counter that champion. As you may be aware, in this current video in the background, it's an all random, all mid. I'm playing Nidalee, and Morgana and Annie and a handful of other people on their team are just eating spears. Now, is it because I'm doing a good job at throwing them? Maybe a little, but I think most of the time they're walking into them because they're not keeping a minion between you and Nidalee, who is just relentlessly throwing spears. That's just something you have to do if you want to avoid those. You need to keep a minion between you and her at all times. Be aware of that. Or, if there's nothing in between you, be prepared to dodge one or run backwards. Those are your options, but you can't keep complaining about getting hit by spears if you're really not trying to dodge them specifically. So, you have to play against champions in that way. You have to just think about that. And I think one big thing that does help people with that is the fact to play those champions, or play them once. You'll just, if you know the champion's kit, you can better counter it by just knowing what's going to happen. So there's nothing better than playing a champion and then going up against them the next game with someone else and being like, I know exactly, roughly those cooldowns, how long they are, what that ability does exactly, and how I can avoid it, or what order they're going to use their abilities in. So that's a great way to counter. So try some of that out, and that will help you with new champions and old champions, just kind of countering them if you think they're overpowered. And for my final question today, it is coming in from a Stone Lizard, and they ask, who do you think is better, Kha'Zix or Rengar? There's been a lot of debate over this back and forth, and my Kha'Zix and Rengar builds, from what I can see, are actually my most popularly viewed over the last few months. And everybody's been asking this. Currently, I think Kha'Zix is a little better. At the time when they were both released, Rengar was. But Rengar did get nerfed and buffed back and forth. Not that Rengar's bad, and I still think Rengar is very, very strong when played to his full potential. Like, I've seen some crazy people playing him well. Now, I don't think I'm the first person to say this, because I believe a popular streamer slash pro player, somebody was caught saying this, and they tried to cover it up. And a lot of you may know this, but supposedly Rengar's getting a rework. So, at this current point, I think Kha'Zix is pretty good. Rengar's still good, but Kha'Zix is pretty strong if played pretty well. But I don't know, look forward to maybe a Rengar rework. I'm just going off of what somebody may have accidentally said. I'm not saying that that is exactly the case, so don't get mad at me if I'm right or wrong, but that's just what I heard. prepare for that if that's going to happen. But that's going to be League Talks for today, guys. If you have any questions, like I said, submit them to me. But other than that, I think I'll just see all of you guys in the next video.